Hello seniors, and welcome to my channel Retirees Nigeria. I am Dr. Dorothy Ese. Today I want to talk about, in this video I want to talk about adult-child estrangement. Many parents today are dealing with estranged adult-child situation, and reports have it that there's an increase in separation between adult children and the parent or both parents. Being cut off by another adult child is not something that any parent pray for, but it does happen, and it does happen more often than many of us think. If you think about it well enough, I'm sure you will find someone somewhere in the past or at the moment who is experiencing this situation. Circumstances do result in adult children cutting off their parents from their lives. Most times this happens as a result of some form of perceived abuse from the parents. What kind of abuse actually could result in an adult child, cutting off the parents? It could be verbal abuse. It could be physical abuse. It could be manipulation. It could be emotional abuse, that spanned a period of time. It could also be the result of childhood trauma that the child suffered as a result of a parent's divorce or separation, and the child blames the parents or one of the parents for, separating without putting his or her well-being into consideration. Money issue could also be responsible for a disconnection between an adult child and the parents. It could also be as a result of personality clash, where the child and the parents never seem to agree on most things, and then one day the child just decides, you know what, I've had enough, I'm better off without you, and off they go and don't look back. At times, the parents affected may not even know the reason why the child has decided to cut, him or her off, or both parents off. The child just disappears and never communicates, and the parents don't even know, how to contact that child. Being estranged from an adult son or daughter can be extremely painful, and repairing such relationship is possible, but it takes time and will require patience on the part of the affected parents. And how long it does take to reconnect with such a child will depend on the cause of the estrangement. As the parent, if you are faced with estrangement situation, do recognize the first step to initiate a repair of the relationship between you and your child actually falls on you, the parent. This is not about being wrong or right. It falls on you to initiate contact, whether or not you believe that you did wrong, to cause the estrangement, or whether you know the issue that led to your being cut off in the first place. The surprising thing, is that there are some adult children that will go through the same issues that caused some children to cut off their parents, but they still stayed connected to their parents. It boils down to one thing, and that is how each one of us react to life challenges. It differs amongst us. People react differently to situations that confront them, and there are people who are more prone to separating themselves or distancing themselves, from the challenges that they face. And a big factor here is our stress management ability. When some people feel anxious or are tired of, the pressure that is placed on them by any situation, they do one of two things. They either fight back or they flee. Now, in parent-child situation, those children who choose to fight back end up giving their parents a lot of trouble, but they stay put. they stay connected to their parents. The one who chooses to flee decides to distance himself either temporarily or permanently. And the distance could be emotional distance, it could be physical distance, or both. And usually when a child distances himself from a parent, he or she tend to feel a sense of relief, especially if the parent was physically or emotionally abusive. So when a child, that is an adult child, moves away from home or distances himself from the parents or parents, they, the parents, then feel powerless, because with that distance, they lose control over the child's conduct. And he's an adult now, so there isn't much the parents can achieve using force. So if you are a parent and your child cuts off ties and distances himself from you, there are ways to go about, the situation so as to reconnect with them. And the reconnection is possible if it is well handled. I want to talk about reconnecting with your child, the ways that you can go about reconnecting with your child. That is what should be done and what should not be done in the process of trying to reconnect. The first thing you need to understand, is that when a person, I mean any person, and that includes your adult child, when a person shuts out another person, that action is actually in response, to the anxiety, discomfort, or the pain that the relationship made them go through. So know that when they cut you off, it is in most cases done in self-defense or self-preservation. It is not to punish you, the parents, in most cases. You may be feeling pain that after all the years that you spent raising a child to adulthood, now that they are grown, a child decides to disconnect for whatever reason. It does hurt, but it happens. Another thing you need to do is to change your thinking. Your child is an adult now, so see him or her as such. Treat your children as the adult that they are, and handle reconciliation process with humility. Yes, I know what we are told, that pikin not a big for where im mama or im papa dey. I know. Or the old saying of, no matter how tall an okra plant grows, the farmer will be able to bend it to harvest the okra. Yes, it is true. But it doesn't work well in a situation like this. You cannot force a reconnection on the child. Why? Because he's an adult who can take decisions on his own now. So you need to apply caution if you truly want reconciliation. So do not respond to their cutting you off by disconnecting with them in return. That is not a solution. You need to reach out, in a way that you can. And if you have their contact, the better. So by reaching out should not include your telling them how wrong. That's if eventually you are able to get through to them. Don't go about telling them how wrong it was for them to cut you off, or scolding them that they are bad children for disconnecting from you. And then you go on and on about how the difficulties that you went through, to raise him or her. This actually is a wrong move, even if that is the truth. Be the one to initiate the reconciliation. And while you are at it, remember that your goal is to reconcile and to restore the relationship, and not to determine who is right or who is wrong. And even while you are not, in talking terms, or you are not contacting each other in a friendly manner, if you have their contact, do send messages, once in a while. Like when it is their birthday, you can send birthday wishes. You can send messages in festive periods. And once in a while, you can send gifts if you can afford it. You can do that through maybe someone that is in good terms with them and is in contact with them. For example, maybe through one of your other children, who still has their contact and goes to visit. You can send a gift through that child. And you could also talk to the child to, put in a word for you once in a while. And then you need to let them know that you will wish to have a conversation with them to know what the problem is. And should you decide to have a conversation, do not make it look as if you are giving others. For example, the message you can send to them should be polite. Like Molly, that's if the child's name is Molly, for example. Molly, I would like to have a conversation with you. But if you prefer to send a message instead, it is okay. What I want to hear is your perspective, of the matter that you are upset about. That is nice. That's a good message. Nice and polite. And if you do not get a positive response, or you do not get any response at all, it is okay. Don't worry. Be patient. He or she may not be in a state of mind to want to talk or to hear your perspective of whatever the matter is. So you can keep it for later. As the parent, you need to be the bigger person here and make it your responsibility, to facilitate interaction whenever your child feels comfortable to talk with you. And remember not to engage in any arguments or trade blame. If you are wrong, accept it and let reconciliation begin. Apologize if you see that you have truly wronged your child. We are all humans and everyone makes mistakes. So even though you are a parent, you also make mistakes. So apologize to your child. You are sorry for whatever happens. And then during the reconciliation, when you are having a conversation with your child, listen. Listen to your child. If you do find an opportunity to have a conversation with him or her, and then try not to talk down on him or her. Remember, he's an adult now and have become independent. During the conversation, allow him to express his displeasure so that you can understand his perspective of the issue and why and how he perceived the wrong that was done to him. You have to listen now because you want a reconciliation. So you have to listen. You know how it is, the way our parents bring us up. Most of the time, we are not allowed to express ourselves. But this is an adult now who wants to say something. Listen. Even if you think he is still wrong, do listen. We cannot all agree on the same matter. So you may be thinking differently and he's expressing himself in a way that you think is wrong. Just be silent and let him talk. We cannot all agree on the same thing, but we can respect each other. So show him some respect as an adult. Respect him this time. Sometimes you may be told to your face by your adult child how high-handed you were, how stingy you were, how you refused to make funds available, for something that he thought was important to him, or how you abandoned him, or how you didn't allow him to, some form of freedom, or not loving him enough, or for loving one of your children over him. His outburst could hurt you, but be calm. Breathe and allow him to vent. If you truly want reconciliation, that is. While he's at it, try to see the situation from his perspective. If you disagree with what he's saying, just try harder and find some grain of truth in what he says. Hard as it may be, try to be realistic and look at, the whole matter, objectively. Is there any way this could have been possible, even if that wasn't intentional? Try to empathize with your child who is in pain, rather than getting angry, for the hurtful words that he is using in trying to express his frustration. It is better if he's able to let out his bottled anger that resulted in the distancing and cutting off of the perceived source of discomfort or pain, which is you. And then after hearing him out, after he has vented his anger, try not to give too much explanation, because it's going to result in an argument. Don't explain too much what happened. If you think you were wrong in any way, do apologize. I know it is difficult for most parents. You know how it is. African parents, authority, high-handed, holding the whip all the time, whipping them, in place. So it is difficult for parents, African parents, to say sorry to their children, as they feel that they have done them a whole lot as a parent by their raising them alone. But if you are wrong, you have to learn to apologize to your child. And another thing you should do while you are trying to reconcile with your child, before the reconciliation, telling other people about the strained relationship with your child and asking them to get involved in the situation does not usually help. Try not to do it. For some children, actually, this line of action tends to push them away further. The reason is that they feel that you are making them look bad in the eyes of those you are complaining to. And most parents, in their attempt to reconcile with their adult children, they contact, their own friends, the friends of the child, a colleague at work, or members of the immediate family. It may not be a wise idea to do this. But if you are not able to reach your child yourself, and you are in a good relationship with maybe another child of yours who is in contact with him or her, that's who relates well with him, you may go through that child and desist from complaining about your situation to others, except people who your child respects and will listen to. And this should be for the purpose of reconciliation instead of criticizing his behavior. In most cases, a reconciliation takes time, so have it at the back of your mind that it may not happen soon. Yes, in many cases it doesn't happen overnight, because your child is probably still boiling, angry at whatever happened. Depending on the root cause, actually, of the estrangement, it could take from weeks to even years for things to normalize. But I must tell you this. It has been found out through a survey of children who cut off from their parents that many of them do not wish to reconnect. It's a fact. It's a bitter truth, but it does happen. Some don't want to reconnect ever. While for some, they actually long to reconnect but do not know how to begin, because they started it, not the parents. So if your child falls into this category, then using the method that I've just explained, could result in something positive. So if you initiate a reconciliation as a parent, you could be lucky to reconnect with your child. But even if it doesn't happen, you still have you to take care of. You still have you to care for. Take life as you see it, and be happy with what life has dished you. You need to move on with your life, hoping that one day a reconnection will happen. That's after you have put in your efforts and things are not working. Chill and be still and let life work out the rest. One day your child may just come back on his own to reconcile with you. We have seen cases like that. You don't have to get stuck waiting and hoping, making it look like your existence depends on your child reconciling with you. You can take care of yourself and heal. Then you'll be strong and ready if reconciliation happens. Try not to be too hard on yourself, thinking that you have failed as a parent. Be kind to yourself. Even if you truly wronged your child, having apologized to your child that you offended, forgive yourself and let the guilt that you feel go. Let it go. To err is human. We all make mistakes. Your wanting to reconcile with your child shows that you regret whatever happened and that you are sorry. Your child may still be very hurt and needs time to heal. Allow time to pass. Don't push it. Don't force it. Time heals. And do not think that your case is unique and that this doesn't happen often to other parents. It's because you don't hear about it. Because most people don't want to talk about it. It does happen. It is common. It is just that you didn't get to hear about other people's story. Someone also going through, this same kind of situation, adult-child estrangement, got so frustrated, not being able to reconcile with her child. And she set up a website, where estranged parents come to discuss their experiences. And guess what? That website gets visitors of 80,000 and above every month coming to visit the site to, share their experiences. 80,000 every month visitors. Estranged child-parent situation. They go there to know how to handle their cases. So estrangement with a child is not something to be happy about, we all know, but knowing that you are not alone and that others are also dealing with a situation like this, makes it, gives you a good feeling, a consolation. So this is it for this video. I wish you luck in reconnecting with your adult child. I will see you in my next video. Feel free to share this video and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.